One big investigation is complete now, John. Another one is heating up. The House Government Oversight Committee's probe of alleged Biden family corruption. So what do you think of the recent 38-page report released by committee Republicans? Is it just conjecture? Is there hard evidence that can be used in court? Is there criminality here or just unethical behavior?
Well, I think in this case, everything points to criminal behavior. All fraud is proven by inference. Fraudsters don't come into court and say, by the way, I intended to do this. I'm corrupt. I intended to be corrupt. You always prove your cases by circumstantial evidence, usually on a conspiracy basis. And I think there's plenty there, in my view, to show, number one, money laundering and what they call structuring. That is to say, having different devices intended to fool the authorities as to what was happening in a corrupt transaction. I also think that Hunter Biden was an unregistered foreign agent. Now, anyone who conspires with him in his illegal activities is also a co-conspirator and potentially criminally liable. And so if Joe Biden knew this and participated in the scheme for his son to act as an unregistered foreign agent, corruptly or otherwise, just as an unregistered foreign agent, that pits him as a potentially in the line of fire here. I think a special counsel has to be appointed right now. There's clear evidence of a conflict because, after all, Joe Biden's the boss of Merrick Garland. So you have to appoint one, and yet it's not being done because people aren't pointing it out. And you and others like you, Gary, are doing a really good job. But the CNNs and MSNBCs of the world and the major networks are not. And so hopefully there's enough going now that they may cover it.
Here's a development I'm sure you want to weigh in on. An Internal Revenue Service whistleblower reveals that the entire team investigating Hunter Biden for tax evasion has been removed from the IRS probe, and it reminds me a bit of Nixon's Saturday Night Massacre at the DOJ in October 1973. I'm sure you remember that well. So what do you make of this one?
Well, that was my father's law partner was one of the people fired in the Saturday Night Massacre, so we know it very well. But yes, this is a massacre, but it's done by stealth and by poisoning, and nobody was supposed to know about this. And it really is very bothersome. That's another thing that I think it's well within the congressional purview to investigate, because that itself is a form of obstruction of justice. I know you're not going to criminally convict anybody for this, but that's what is happening. It is interference with an investigation, whoever did this, and it just needs accountability. This should not happen. I mean, they have the guy clearly on tax evasion and who knows what else. But the other part of this is that I'm not so sure that his father is not going to be implicated in this, at least as an unindicted co-conspirator, if this thing is prosecuted correctly.
Okay, finally then, John, you've written books on the Watergate scandal. The latest is The Mysteries of Watergate, What Really Happened. You know well about how that one unfolded, but it only led to Nixon's resignation once Republicans joined with Democrats to make the president accountable. So how about this Biden investigation? Might it lose steam because Democrats aren't joining in? They and the mainstream media, as you said, are debunking the initial conclusions and the Comer Committee report. What do you think?
Well, in Watergate, water didn't get off the ground until the press weighed in, and the media, the electronic media, as well as the written media, and that's not happening here. So if a scandal falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear it, is there a scandal? And that's what's happening here.
Okay, Attorney John O'Connor, thank you for sharing your time and insights. We appreciate you, John.
Thank you, Gary.